I guess we can just dive right into this weather check. So, you want to start us off, Edu?
For sure. Temperature check. Mm, it's quite hot in Barcelona, weatherly wise and humanly wise. TC seems a little bit mm, mid-level, not warm. I would say warm, not even warm. I think it's a little bit cold. I feel a little bit cold here for some reason. But in here, I saw on Sunday bunch of people. We were probably, I think, 25 people on a restaurant, on a sushi restaurant, and poor people of the restaurant, they didn't know how to handle so many people that didn't speak native English, native Spanish. So that was a peculiar situation. Very fun. Um, Managed to see everyone. Probably will see tomorrow most of the rest of the people. Livy and Tam arrived today, so haven't had time to meet them. So that's hard in that sense. It's exciting. I feel the passion and how the Giveth galaxy is expanding. So it feels nice to see their progress and the humans behind it. On the TEC side, I feel we are on a slow pace. But it feels it's just the builder season. So had some very interesting meetings this week. People who found themselves to the guides meetings and scheduled meetings, and also yesterday a nice presentation on Communitas from Sha, who is a volunteer contributor person who is gravitating around Communitas for a while. So that felt interesting, and yeah, I will pass it on to Gideon.
Thanks, Edu. It's feeling, odd combination of hot and cold. So warm, but the hot is that there's a lot of moving parts right now with Sampo, and cold is that it's kind of like it feels like people are kind of coming and going right now, so it's kind of hard to know like where everybody is. The TC Discord feels kind of empty right now. It's interesting. Um, what else is going on? Yeah, not a lot. We're taking off. My family and I are taking off. Our CJ and I and our boys are going to go down to the Oregon coast on Thursday, so that'll be nice. But other than that, just plugging along. I will pass it to Bye Bye B.
Temperature is pretty cold for me, and that's mostly because I've been in dark for the last week, and I've been really busy with a lot of different things. So, um, praise is probably going cold too. Right, for July right now, I think we're probably going to slow. Christopher's on vacation, Matty is leaving, and Nibs might be going on vacation too soon. So, all that rush development period is coming to close, and things are more quiet and stable now. So, pretty cold right now. And I'll pass it on to, I think everyone's gone, right? Nate. Okay.
Wonka, do you want to give a temperature check real quick?
Yeah, I feel very hot. It's very hot in my city, and also like we are in the 7th session of the Graviton training. It's amazing that we have consistently given that every week, and today we have Lowy. So it's amazing to hear also so many different perspectives. A little bit like stressed, but learning a lot from this initial experiment of providing services to another DAO. And yeah, Nate?
Yeah, so temperature for me is a bit, it's warm, but as I think Vi said, a lot of people are on vacation right now, and you know, it feels like we're losing a ton of momentum, and I guess that's one of the big fears that I have is that people, we lose momentum, we lose cohesion, and it's very hard to get that back and going again. And so, anything we can do to keep that momentum and cohesion together, I think, is really important. Outside of that, I think the directions we're heading are really great, but yeah, it's one of those things where you just kind of have to wait and watch. But yeah, that's it for me. And so let's go to I'm filling this out just because my summers are so variable and I don't have any planned vacations. So it's very hard to fill out. But if you do know, it's really important just to keep an eye on like what weeks we can expect it to be slow, what weeks we and how to adjust accordingly. So if you get a moment to look in that document and fill it out yourself, do so. Ivy is offboarding from TEC stewardship. This is big news, sad news, happy news, all together like amazing stuff. Ivy has done an amazing job for us. So if you get a moment, send a praise to Ivy, send her a DM, thank her for everything that she's done. Yeah, go ahead.
Who is gonna do the stars?
Ooh, that is a good point. I'm not as creative as Ivy is. I will never be able to do the stars. But yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out. Maybe we can incentivize her to put like 12 sprint weeks of planning of stars out. That'll never happen. But just if you get a chance, just thank Ivy because she really has done so much work for the TEC and has been so humble about it and been so quiet in the background. So thank you, Ivy. Yeah. So moving on from that, Gardens and Snapshot. So we just had recently in the Snapshot the approval to update the community covenant, which has now moved towards our gardens. We have 3 proposals within our gardens right now. One is the community house second term funding proposal. Yeah, which is really nice. Hopefully we can get that passed. I don't know how much. What was Edu? Do you know what percentage of like this was compared to the first period?
Oh, this is like 10. This is 20%. This 80% less than the first budget requested.
Okay. Cool.
The first time we requested 40,000.
Yeah.
This time we are requesting 13, and it seems that we will still have budget for July and August. So if this proposal takes a month to pass, we'll still be fine.
Okay. Yeah, and so check out the forum post on this proposal in particular. Really important that we do that. And I think is a really good example of cutting down the spending, which is really awesome. The ABC Advanced page. This is something I just looked into recently, and I'm super excited about it. The ability to have this type of education within the page that says, here's how you're participating in our token economy. This is exactly how it works, and this is exactly where your money's going to. This is the type of transparency that we needed. They're asking for 5,000 wrapped XDAI to build this, and I think it's a great idea. And so, if you guys have tokens to support this, I really do think this is a really fundamentally positive direction for how we introduce the ABC to the community and the outside world. The third Gardens proposal that is up currently is our update agreement to the TEC Community Covenant. Now, I don't know, outside of this proposal on the forum, does anybody have any comments on the current covenant, what it sets out to do, and your understanding of it?
I don't have much I mean, I don't know what are the changes. I haven't read this. It will be interesting to have a TLDR on what was specifically changed or modified. Um, I like that they use the word decision making and not governance. It's a really nice change and that wording. Yeah, the Celeste thing.
Yeah,
I mean, not even one hive used Celeste accordingly. So I beg to challenge that decision of using an on-chain mechanism for enforcement. Mainly
uh,
because it
yeah. Good.
mainly because it seems non-native to our community. First, secondly, not even in their native communities used widely. People is not educated about Celeste here, so that's the only part I will challenge actually to be modified. Mainly because I don't see, yeah, I don't think I think this kind of rewards and rewards and reinforcements mechanisms should be native or adapted to communities because of
Yeah.
the nature of communities. So using external forms of reward or punishment, I think I don't think it will make much of a sense, but that's my 2 cents. Gideon, I see that you commented on this covenant. Do you have any thoughts on the covenant?
Yeah, what I wrote. It's been a little while since I wrote it, but I think I remember what I wrote, which was next time we update this, I'd love to go into some more depth about what we mean by accountability, and yeah, just like how we hold ourselves accountable. I think that's it touches on it, but not in the same level of depth that some of the cultural aspects do. And I think that's going to be very important for us, especially as the economic layer develops. How do we build things together? How do we hold ourselves accountable to each other without having some type of hierarchy, like some type of power hierarchy that does it? We're trying to build something different, so what does that look like? So I think that would be good to fill out the next time we make an update. I'm sure we'll make an update to this over time. And then the last thing is just like this ties back to some of the Communitas stuff and the membership question. I think we're gonna try to make a push to try to get everybody to sign this covenant. Like right now, I don't think that many people have actually signed it, so or even read it probably.
Yeah, we need to do more promotion in terms of actually signing it and reading it and understanding the changes behind it. I'm almost tempted to just be like, I'm going to challenge this to Celeste and see what happens. But outside of that, I think that we should probably do a better job in communicating the TEC Community Covenant. But those are the three major proposals on our dashboard, our gardens. The TEA TEC Intro to TE is going to be happening on July 14th, 2 p.m. UTC. I will be leading that one with Patty and Angela over in the TE Academy Discord. And then all we have is our sprint board check-in and working group updates. And so actually, before we do that, who added the overview of, was that Gideon? Do you want to talk about the overview of token gate tests for token holder channel?
Before you jump into that, Gideon, I wanted just to say something if you guys agree on Ivy's goodbye. Since she's coming here, I can just buy a card and a bunch of flowers and put your names of the ones who are here and most of the stewards and give it to her. If you all agree, I think it's a good idea. Then let's do that. That's it.
I think that would be amazing. Yeah. Will you sign my name like really big though? Like really big. Like
I will write your name using stars.
Thank you. I'll take that. Yeah, that sounds really good. And let us know what I can chip in or whatever. So tell me your address, Edu. Start actually using these currencies for something. I'll throw you some TEC.
You can pay me in DC tokens. Anyways, Gideon, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna pay you in star tokens.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. That's so you, Edu. Thank you. Thanks for remembering to do that. Yeah, just very briefly. So we've been looking at token gating as like one of the ways that we help to create perceived value for the TEC token. But there are some questions about what token gating might do to our culture, right? Like if you muff that, if you don't handle it well, it can be kind of off-putting. Like it's I've been to a few communities that token gate, and if you don't handle it well, it can seem very clubby. And just I don't know. I don't. There have been a couple times when I've landed in a token gated community and I didn't like it. So we want to be super careful about this idea, and we don't even know if we want to do it in a full-blown way. So what we agreed upon in one of the SoftGov meetings recently was that we would do a test. We'd pick like a kind of a safe place that helps us solve some of our existing problems, and do a token gated Discord channel to test it out. So the thing that we thought might be good is that we would set up a channel that's like a communications channel for token holders, because it's challenging to reach token holders today, and it's a lot of work. Right now it's mostly just hatchers, so the new people who are buying the token, we're not necessarily getting them. I don't want to overpromise. Just because we have a channel doesn't mean that people are going to flock to it, right? It just means that only people who have the token can get to that channel. That's what a token gate is. I'm assuming everybody knows what a token gate is, but if not, it means that there are these tools that you can use to basically just check to see whether somebody has a particular token before they get access to a channel. So what I am proposing is a test. I'll probably put this up on the forum next week, maybe. That's basically just saying, hey, we want to do a test between now and the end of the year to set up a token gated channel that will basically be communications updates to token holders. So it include things like, working group updates, maybe. The work that Costa is doing might include that stuff. Updates like you just did, Nate, on like what's happening with conviction voting. So like like how are we spending our funds? Maybe updates on kind of budget and like financial updates. And that's probably enough to start, just to kind of test it out. But if people have other thoughts on the kinds of things that might be like a logical fit for a channel like that, feel free to ping me or tell me right now. Yeah.
Gideon, would you like to share maybe other space concept, just to see how this can be, just to have awareness about that? I can share because I just have a presentation here. So
Sure.
for folks who doesn't know, so there was this tool called Other Space who joined ENS, and then they pitched ENS onboarding team, which means me, like some kind of tool to onboard, but it's not white labeled, so it was quite hard for ENS to adopt it, and it hit a wall. And at some point, they reached back to receive feedback on that conversation. It led to the conversation that maybe ENS is maybe too big for using the capabilities of Other Space, but maybe TEC is. So today I had a meeting with the designer team of Other Space, and this is just a deck for viewing. So basically, this is the basic web page that they have. Currently, they have another web page live. This is the new version that will be launched at the end of this month, and then these are the different steps like before creating. They have basically it's an onboarding tool, but you can fully customize everything on that onboarding. You can ask whatever you want. You can link to Discord. So it's a very powerful tool. And they are launching this very specific section or feature added to the currently existing features, which is the badge system, which is a NFT non-transferable token that any DAO can they call it the badge, and that any DAO can send and set this set of rules based on this badge or this token. And this will be native to every DAO that decides to use this. So this is just a landing page of this. So for example, this is a very simple way to create a token. So basically the name, the art, you put the name, the image of the badge, the expiring date, how long this token will live. So for example, if you want to have a steward every 3 months and a badge for stewards, you will set that the expiration date will be 30 days. So that token will burn after 30 days. And then you have to register the badge. It goes through MetaMask or any other tool. You do that, and then once that badge is minted, then you choose to who you give access to this. It could be Discord, ENS, or your wallet address, and then you just add the address to this. Again, blah, blah. And then later on, you can delete. You can see who was the people who minted this, and you can delete them from access manually if you want. But this only you can do it. Like the people who receive the badge cannot burn the token or cannot delete the token. It can only be done from this desk. And then it will look like this. So it will say, for example, it's valid for how long and all this stuff. So since this will be linked to Discord, we will have access to the beta at the end of this month. And one of the things that we wanted to do is all these initiatives that we were having in Communitas to sort of have this maybe other space set up for this, and then they sort of solve the situation of the badge NFT thing that Gideon wants to do, because it's way easier. You don't have to do much coding. It's very easy to administrate and so on. So this is something that we are currently on the possibilities to explore. I guess we will wait until the end of the month to see the full functionality, but it seems that it is very interesting to explore for our community and to give it way more functions that only token gated. It could be done for a variety of things. So yeah, that's it.
So is that admin page, that desk, can that be controlled through multisig?
That's one of the questions I asked. That's one of the questions I asked, and they will reply, because I met with the designer. I didn't meet, like, the developer team was not present. I asked about this. I asked about the multisig. I asked about, for example, giving the minting possibility to a batch of people rather than one by one. Also to have a full list of the capacities of the batch, like what are the things that this thing can do, and then thirdly to make it different from a POAP, because it looks like a POAP at this stage, but it's way more powerful than a POAP. But the visualization looks a little bit like a POAP, so people can just want to mint this as a POAP, and that's not the functionality. The idea is to have imagine the roles in Discord, but taken to the next level. If the roles will be NFTs, and how can you administrate groups of people, communities based on this badge system? So yeah, that's it.
So two things just to add. One is Edu's going to be putting together a post on the forum to talk about a membership NFT for TEC. And then the second thing is, and Edu, you and I don't know if we talked about this or not, but one of the things that we were talking about in Sampo is just like, how do we, it seems like for these non-transferable tokens, which is kind of like people are talking about like soul-bound tokens, which that's not going to be out until like next year, at least. So the question that's come up is like, for doing these non-transferable tokens like this, like one approach is an app like this, where it's kind of more app-based, and the other is more protocol-based. And so I can't remember, it's like ERC 725, I think, is one of the ones that looks promising for this kind of stuff. And so I think one of the questions just that we just need to keep an eye on is like, how do we ensure that whatever we do now that might be more proprietary, like this might be kind of considered something that's a little bit more proprietary, gives us a path so that we can eventually move to like standards down the road. You know, we don't get locked in. So
Yeah, I think the advantages of the processes that we want to do is that they can be either done manually or they can be done by these tools or by any other tool that probably will surface. And the advantage of this is that if the tool gets shut down, we are still, at least for the time it was alive, we understood how it worked and we can do it manually. And I think both systems will work accordingly. Therefore, it's always a gamble to understand whether these tools will keep alive in a year or not. But I don't know. I think it's worth trying. At the same time, I feel I have always shared my hesitance about not talking gating, but focused on this idea of privilege and blah blah blah. So I feel like the badges, whether it's role based, whether it's token based or whatever, I think there is terrain to explore how this will shape the community in a way that is non-toxic and non-hierarchical, which is my only sort of concern, But I'm just gonna, regarding what Gideon said and this post that will come tomorrow or the day after tomorrow in the forum, something that I was coming with in terms was the concept of membership. And I explain here in the document that a member is defined by his/her/they agreement to the layers defined by a community. So the idea that a membership is not necessarily just logging into a Discord, but just embracing or accepting the layers that are defined by that community. So membership becomes something that changes through every community. It's not something we can define by concept. And I feel that give us so much room to sort of understand the concept of membership. So anyways, I will share this document when it is ready tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
I think it's really awesome, and I think it'd be really cool to see if we could link membership to like the signing of the covenant. I think that would be really interesting. I really like the idea of that tool, not so much from the fact that, like as Gideon said, the standards and whether they'll be around for a long time, but for the fact that it has the potential to influence cultural behaviors. Like I can see us like doing like self-assigned roles and incorporating and embedding that within the practices that we have. If I'm going to be like, oh, I want to be a steward for this 3-month term, and then I have to actually renew it to get access and to get these rights to participate in this type of system. Yeah, I think it's really neat to explore. I'm down to explore with you. But yeah, is there anything else you wanted to add to this conversation in terms of token gated communities and all that good stuff?
Edu, do you want to just mention, because I'm not sure everybody understands what the kind of the pieces of membership, like the checkbox thing is?
So the idea when I give this definition of membership, it's basically it means the a member is someone who has accepted the layers defined by a community. It's this idea that in our own process of becoming a member, you will have to do the check-ins in our layers. So you will have to be part of the cultural layer, meaning the praise system. You will need to have also the covenant, which is part of the social cultural layer or the governance layer, if you will. So the idea is that you go through these steps. The first one, going to orientation call, which is the social layer. Then secondly, sign the covenant. Thirdly, this is not in order, but just in case. Thirdly, being part of the praise system. And fourth, do the community offering. This is in general, it's just the fourth very basic things. And the intention of this is by being part of the praise system, you will gain access not only to the governance, but also to the economic layer and the cultural layer, because you are sort of embracing the culture of the TEC by getting into the praise system. So the idea is that the idea of, and why we have given it so much thought at the end of this road is to create a certain framework that can be translated into other communities. Like how do I define membership in another commons? How do I work what is required for a member to be part of this community? And how do we define that? And the idea is of this process that we have been going, I think, Gideon, for like 3 or 2 months, is to come out with a certain process that can be standardized and applied or replicated in other communities. And for us, I think those are key, like being part of the praise system, and accepting the covenant, signing the covenant, being part of the orientation call, because we're a very niche community. Not everyone knows the things around here, so you need to be orientated in order to have a full information. And then lastly, the community offering as a last part of embracing the gratitude culture that we have here. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's really awesome. And I look forward to seeing it. All right, so you're gonna have a forum post for it as well?
Yeah, the idea is to seek consensus and check feedback from Omega mostly, to understand what is their approach to membership, what they think about this idea, and also match. I would love to have hardcore talking engineers seeing this idea of membership, because I feel that we only care about talking engineers when we talk about technical aspects of our economy, but these are cultural aspects of our economy that is really important. And I will love their feedback in a technical matter, like how do they perceive this, because it's this push of you don't see how important it is, but it will be very important for us, and we need to have a common ground on this boundaries, because at the end what we are setting is the boundaries of someone who wants to be a member. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And so, speaking of the sprint board check-in and work group updates, is there anything that you want to talk about in terms of just announcements from the Communitas working group and other initiatives that have not already been mentioned?
Not on my end. Just that the fact that you will be hosting orientation call this week. I will probably also prepared the Communitas slides for community call. I don't know, Gideon, if you can present it on the community call, because I will be at the conference, so I won't be able to be present. And yeah, that's the only changes for this week, I believe.
All right.
Edu, sorry, I can't. I'm going to be on the Oregon coast, so I have Bear presenting for Sampo too. So yeah, maybe there's somebody
True.
else.
No, don't worry. I will pass it on to Costa to do
Okay.
those changes.
Yeah, sorry.
And what about with Gravity? Do you guys have any updates in terms of what you're working on right now? I know you guys are pretty deep into the provision agreements with Aragon, but is there anything else that you want to talk on?
Yeah, I think I am going to be taking vacations. I already marked some of the dates in the sheet. It will be the 2 last weeks of July and the 2 last weeks of August. What I am waiting for is to deliver this third Graviton training, and after try to make some Graviton get-togethers so that we can get to know the people from the different cohorts from Gravity, and then start on the discussion about the second proposal that we will submit to the TC. That our idea is that we will focus in the second proposal not so much in education, but in the launch of our economy. So we will be including some of these into our proposal, and we are thinking maybe in splitting the proposal in two, so that we can work with the conviction voting as it is right now.
All right. How about hey Chi? How about comms? You have any updates with comms and things that you want to share with the Stewards group?
Yes, Nate. Actually, Juanca just joined this call. We're gonna be taking like a few decisions around our structure, especially because I've been having this concern for the past few weeks because since Gravity and Comms are the closest to like a service DAO, or they could be understood even as service DAOs. The way we work with, like aspects like stewarding and coordination are heavily dependent on certain roles, which is what we are trying to avoid in the Stewards working group as a whole, right? To create these dependencies. Unfortunately, we created these dependencies when we had the idea of teams and, like providing these things. But what we were discussing for the last week is, to not create dependencies of these roles on individuals. So what we are trying to do is, since I'm gonna be having a project that got support from the Gnosis DAO this month, and pretty much I'm gonna be focused like all in with Ethereum Mexico for the next 6 weeks. I wanted to take a chance to explore different forms of diversifying responsibilities within the communications working group. So even though I'm still gonna be like stewarding, the responsibilities themselves are something that we're gonna be exploring. So let's say that steward, the responsibilities as they currently are gonna be part of the acid lasers duties. However, my aside of being here in the Stewards working group and playing a role with multi-sig signatures and stuff like that is still gonna be on me. Like it's not that I'm making acid laser like a steward, but that there are gonna be like some responsibilities that he's gonna be exploring regarding communications, like within itself as a working group, and pretty much the same thing with Manu. I think he was doing a great job as a working group coordination lead, and I feel that this is a very, very necessary role in communications. However, both Acid Laser and Mount Manu have been doing other kinds of responsibilities within their own teams. So what we're gonna be trying to do is, like contributors that have been in and out, that haven't been like regular, we're gonna try to give more responsibilities to them. So in the end, what we're trying to achieve is like support each other, because even though we are a lot of contributors, we want to still, like explore within our organizational structures and try different things. So I feel that right now, if we're gonna be like in this like standby middle ground, like kind of weird, I feel that it's a great opportunity to make these explorations, and at the same time, we are in a position where we are finding opportunities in tough times in other communities and in other circles. So I feel that this is a great chance to not create dependency around the TEC while we answer this question about how are we gonna like earn what we are spending. So yeah, I just feel that the whole thing like lifts a little bit of pressure in the whole context, and it gives us a chance to like collaborate in different ways, and for different contributors to like get to try other stuff. So yeah, I'm sorry if I spoke a lot, but yeah, I was very anxious to share this news in with the rest of this call.
That's really awesome. I really support this type of development. I think we're slowly starting to abandon this kind of roles model, which is, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question, Shui. We were trying to see what we can do with the working group updates that currently are doing by Costa and post on the forum, since the forum is getting such a low activity. we were thinking about maybe taking probably you need tweets or things to tweet. So just taking maybe he can. I need to know who to send this, but basically 5-6 main items from the working group updates can be shared as tweets on our Twitter. Like for example, I don't know, when a working group did something that week that was relevant or a contributor or whatever. So if you can point me in the direction where I have to send Costa to send this information, he always put up the forum post on Sundays or Mondays. So yeah, you could have content for the week of that. So let me know to who.
So Edu, on that, I think one thing that would be good to just figure out is, if we do this token holder channel, like, do we try to have that information be like really for the token holders, right? As like a special thing? Or is it just, if we put it out on tweets, then it's like, I don't know if it makes any sense to put it in that channel.
I think
that's my question.
Yeah, for this case, I think it will take probably a few weeks until we have the token gated Discord. I think, I don't know how long. So my idea was just to do it until we find a better way to make use of that. And I think we can even make sort of a very specific use case. So community generic news can go into these updates and publicly, and the ones that are very focused, very token engineer focused, for example, Omega launch of the library, check out this update on the library. This kind of can go to the token gated channel. I don't know. This is something to explore. But in the meantime, we decide where this gated Discord channel will be. I was just going to use this information to at least make people aware that this exists. I don't think we will. And then when decision is made to use this information only on the token gated channel, then we just take out the tweets, and we just stop putting the tweets there, and that's it.
Yeah, I am a little bit hesitant myself to like have some stuff just go to the token holders, because it's kind of like, well, why not share with everybody, right? Like, it's not like a secret, right?
Yeah.
But
then no.
But just to finish that thought.
Yeah. Sure.
But I think that as praise catches up with with like the current time, then more and more people are going to have the token, and so it's not going to be that much of a barrier to for somebody to actually get access to this channel. So I want to encourage us over the course of the rest of the year to see if we really can, just as a test, give it a shot, like put some valuable kind of stuff that isn't available to everybody in this channel, and see if that helps to encourage people to mint TEC and hold TEC.
I think at the end, it's not so much about the information, but the creation aspect of that information. I think people will value, even if we put up on the Twitter, it won't be in a single space. You will have to be on the Twitter at that moment to read it. But it's the creation aspect that will give value to the token gated channel. It will be meaning we have chosen the information that goes there, not everything that goes in Twitter, because we need to keep the feed alive. So it's two different approach, and I feel we could still be sharing the same information. But for example, in a Medium, in the token gated, if we talk about Medium article, a Medium article gets shared on Twitter too. But on the token gated channel, that Medium article gets more described. We invite the author to discuss about it. It provides another context. So I feel it's more about the creation aspect rather than the information. So the information will be the same, but how we present it or the other things that we present with that information is what will make it unique. And also the idea of a singular space where people can know that they will find curated information rather than just Twitter, where it's just a chaos, retweets, and a bunch of stuff differently.
I see both ways, but I tend to lean towards getting inside of things just because I don't know. unless you have some really unique content where you can like present here's a little teaser of content, and then have this kind of channel that has this like here's where you really want to be. If you like that, this is where you want to be, type of deal. But it gets harder and harder, and I don't actually mind getting that. It becomes less of a barrier over time as long as people are getting the token and participating on the Discord. I think that's the output you want. But yeah, I'm interested in just seeing how this all works. To be honest with you, I've taken part in one token gated community, and it was pretty toxic. Not from the perspective of like you didn't get the value that you wanted once you got in there. It was kind of like they felt they owned that channel, and anything went, and almost all of the cultural expectations of the team what they built before was not present in that group. And I guess that's what you can have when you have a highly speculative place. And then the only other concern that I had with my thoughts on this topic is that every token gated community that I've seen has been accompanied with spam, bots, and people trying to basically con people because of the different prompts that you have for tokens. And so that's another thing to keep an eye out for, I guess. But outside of that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that as we figure this out, it would be super helpful if people have experience with token gated communities, like what the problems are that you've seen. I think that would be super helpful. I mean, just to be clear, like I see this as an experiment, and one thing that I do see is that for the TEC right now, like we've been so focused on our culture, and now we've got this challenge of economic sustainability, and that's like super important right now, right? And so the question I think that's facing us over the next 6 months is how do we marry these two things so that the culture supports the economic sustainability, and this economic sustainability is harnessed to the culture so it doesn't violate the culture. And that's the challenge. And so the token gating thing is like just a perfect example of this, right? It's like, how do we do it in a way that helps the economic sustainability but that doesn't undermine the culture? And so if people have thoughts on specific communities that they've seen where the token gating has been toxic, maybe I'll create a list someplace that we can do some research on, because the end of this period, we'll make a decision whether we want to keep it or yank it.
Yeah, and so since we only have 10 minutes left, I wanted to move on. Vivi, did you have anything to add in your current work streams that you wanted to share with the stewards, what we can support and help with?
Not particularly at the moment. There's nothing. Yeah, pretty much nothing.
Okay, and then I guess do you want to give updates on Sampo, Gideon?
Yeah, just really quickly. The main focuses right now are on the first service, which is this token engineering consulting intake service. And Tam and I are working on this, like framing this up. And Enti has agreed to serve as project manager on this. So we're moving very quickly. The goal is to ship the first version of this by the end of this month. So this is super fast turnaround, and it's going to be very minimal, but we're going to try to get this done. So that's the immediate focus. This token gate thing is also moving forward as a test. Treasury management stuff, that's something Nate is driving. We're trying to get something done on that front by the end of this month too, like a proposal up for a treasury management policy. And then the last thing is I'm just starting to kind of like ramp up the thinking about the framing, how we do our pitch, like our fundraising pitch. So that's like a 2-month process of just like figuring out how we describe the economic value of the TEC.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of the treasury management stuff, it's it's been a really interesting to explore and dive into the landscape of treasury management for DAOs. I think it's one of those things where I've delved into it so much now that I kind of feel even more lost than when I started. Like there's so many different routes you can take, so many tools that are being developed, unsure of which ones to use, which ones not use. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that every organization will have to have treasury management in some form or fashion. We need to learn how to do this. We need to learn how to organize ourselves to manage a treasury and to have people coming in and out, knowing how to organize ourselves, the structure, how we make decisions about taking risk. And that's going to be captured within the policy document at the end of this month. And so I think these are really important steps. And I just don't see how we're, I think the treasury management is going to either, be very, very helpful or very, very detrimental. And I can't tell which direction we're going with it right now. So if you believe in God, pray for me right now. But I'm trying to do this as best as I can.
Do you still want time in the sample call today?
I do, yeah, very much so.
How much time do you think you want?
How much time are you willing to give me? Because I could go through some exercises to get some stuff done.
Yeah, do you want to do like 20, 25 minutes?
That sounds perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
But yeah, so that's a big focus. So if you guys have any input or have any time to put your thoughts to it, let me know. But outside of that, does anybody else have any comments to add before we leave?
Nate, I will be, and everyone, I will be jumping out of this call to start the Graviton training session. Everyone is super invited, as maybe in these days we're not having the usual participation. It would be good for you, some of you, to support us. Thank you, and see you later, guys.
Sounds good, Wonka. Thank you.
Thank you, Juanca.
Good luck. All right. With that being said, anybody else? No? All right. Well, good day to you fellas, and good call, and see you later.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you, Nate.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, Nate.
Okay,